Greetings, fellow Venusians, and welcome to Tales from the End Zone, a yearly podcast dedicated to diving into the weird, wild, and wacky stories from football history. I am your host, Ricky Freck, and today I'm telling a story about maybe the worst person to ever have an NFL contract to my brother.
There's a Dave.
But you have a face. What's the face for?
I was trying to come up with a football themed on the
Oh,
fly, but I'm not. I'm just not smart enough.
it's okay. So as I said last time, this is kind of our April Fool's Day podcast. Unfortunately, didn't
Mm.
fall on April Fool's Day. It's as we're recording this, it is almost the end of April, but
Yeah,
still.
bracket season was too fun. We
Yeah,
couldn't.
we had a blast in bracket season. Then we had to do playoff predictions, and then we had to go celebrate stuff with Dave. But we're gonna get into it today. This is gonna, as long as this podcast goes, every April you'll get one of these episodes. Because as much as I love covering basketball, there are a lot of fun football or other sports stories, and so I wanted to dive into this one now. Today's podcast, I actually wrote in a couple of places where I'll mention it again, but there is a heavy disclaimer. One, I'm an amateur historian. Two, two, uh, we are not a, we're not, we could stretch this out over like two or three podcasts. There's a lot to cover, but I tried to condense it because we are not a football podcast. So I didn't want to stretch this very long. And three, uh, like, what's it called? The
Trigger
warning,
warning.
trigger warning for almost anything you can imagine.
Oh boy. Yeah, I've always thought about what this would be if we were a football podcast because I don't. It's the amount of players that are on an NFL team is just so great that
Mm,
the amount of stories out there. Obviously, I don't know that I'm definitely not qualified. I'm an NBA guy.
right.
You are also an NBA guy, so like probably way more qualified than I am as a historian. But it's just I've thought down in the depths, there's probably a lot of stuff that we could find if we really wanted to dedicate some time to it.
I think, and I will say, there's definitely like a CTE aspect to football that has not
Mm,
come across to basketball. I think there are probably several podcasts out there that cover football, but if there isn't a good one, there should be because
boy, howdy.
um, there are a lot of really, really dark stories you could tell. I mean, this podcast obviously like goes back and forth, right? Like we do some fun stuff, we do some
Yeah, try
good-hearted
to keep it
stuff.
light every now and then.
Yeah, but if you just wanted to make, I don't know, a podcast about murderers and rapists and all that kind of stuff, you could get at least 2 years of content out of the NFL
The NFL is your
easily.
sport.
Yeah, there's a lot of those. Some high profile ones. Some that
Yeah,
are
that's
in the
true.
Hall of Fame.
That's true.
Some that are
Yeah,
on a cover of Madden NFL 2005.
2005.
Played for the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, Ray Lewis.
Yes.
I'll be really honest. I don't know what happened to Ray Lewis. I don't
Oh,
know
so
the story.
maybe next year's story will
Yeah,
be about Ray Lewis.
great.
That's wild. You don't know what happened to Ray Lewis. But,
Sorry.
anyways, okay. So let's go ahead and get this started. This is not about Ray Lewis. It's also not about maybe the guy you would think. Like, if I say the worst person to ever have an NFL contract, what name comes to mind for you?
Deshaun Watson. Also a terrible person who you could do a whole podcast about, I feel like.
I
But
think it is. I guess it's not surprising you would say Deshaun Watson, but I don't even know if he registers.
he's the worst trade of all time, I think.
Yeah.
Sorry. Again, I'm not really a football guy, so my knowledge is like
Yeah.
the last 10 years.
Well, even the last 10 years, I don't think he registers as a person. Like,
The worst contract?
oh no, I meant like person. He's a
Oh,
horrible human being. Don't get me wrong.
okay.
But I'm saying like Aaron Hernandez is not the first name that comes to your mind. The man who's in jail for murdering someone. You
He's
don't know
not
who
in
Aaron Hernandez
he's
is?
not in jail, is he?
Aaron Hernandez?
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident he's in jail.
Didn't he like unalive himself?
Oh, you might be right. But still, I think I think like
He unalived someone else before he unalived
I think
himself.
pretty comfortably he is the worst
My
of the
bad.
last decade.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not. I guess he's probably like early 2010, so it's
I
no
think
longer the last
because
decade anymore.
Deshaun's still active, It
Yeah.
just sits there, you know.
Yeah.
It's like lingering over the league all the
It
time.
is it is really wild that the Cleveland Browns currently have two Pro Bowl quarterbacks.
Oh boy. Yeah. That's like they always talk about getting rid of the NBA All-Star game. That's when I was like, man, we gotta this Pro Bowl, it's not working out.
That
We
was
could
rough.
read we could try something new, but as is, we can't be doing that.
Yeah. All right. Well, this is not Aaron Hernandez, Deshaun Watson, none of the. In fact, I would guess a lot of people don't even know who this person is,
Okay.
or at least didn't know he had a football connection, maybe. But let's go ahead and dive in.
Said
So,
he was this is the worst contract ever.
no, not it's the worst person to ever have an NFL
Oh, okay.
contract. He didn't.
Sorry.
His contract was actually not that big of a deal,
Okay. Okay.
as
Okay.
we'll see.
Sorry.
Okay. So on December 26th, 1950, the Woodfield family of Salem, Oregon, got a
Uh-oh.
post-Christmas present.
Oh wait, that's Salem, Mass. I was
That's
like, that's where
Massachusetts. No, he's
the
not a
witches are
witch.
from.
This man is not
Okay.
a witch.
All right. Maybe born from a witch, but
Well, so his mom went into labor on Christmas Day. So he could have been a Christmas baby, but
it could have been that's Mother Mary. It could have been Christ. I don't know. Sorry.
could have been. Maybe about 2,000 years late, but could have been. Um, but this guy held on too long. He wanted to stay in there for another day. So he came out the day after Christmas.
Okay.
It was their third child. There was a son. They named him Randall, and he was the
Cute.
only boy in the family. He had two older sisters.
Cobb.
Did you say Cobb?
Randall Cobb.
No, Randall. I already
Uh,
told you his last name, Woodfield. Randall
sorry,
Woodfield.
my bad.
Jesus. So he had two older sisters, and they were an upper middle class family. So they mostly lived in a place called Otter Rock, Oregon, which is
Okay.
a small seaside town about 8 miles away from Newport.
Okay.
His father worked as an executive at a Pacific Northwest Bell, which is a telephone company for our younger listeners. And his mom was a witch. No, just kidding. She was a homemaker, not a homewrecker. Excuse me.
Wow. So
She was
which
a
and a home wrecker.
homemaker. So, by all accounts, Randall had a seemingly normal childhood.
Okay.
And for what it's worth, his sisters grew up to have upstanding careers. One is an attorney, and the other is a doctor. So again, upper middle class,
Okay.
relatively comfortable life.
Yeah. Doing the
Rand
most. I love it.
so Randall wasn't quite as successful in the classroom, but still not a bad student. But he was an absolute star on the gridiron.
Okay.
The 6'1" wide receiver was good looking and popular. For all intents and purposes, he had what many would consider an all American childhood. As the youngest and only son, he was doted on by pretty much everybody, and the only real problem he had as a youth was that his mom wanted to call him Randy, and he absolutely hated that name.
Oh, Randy's such a good nickname though.
I think it.
I really understand that.
So, okay, I know things you don't know. I do think what I know about him, Randy, is one of the worst names he could be called.
Okay. I guess we'll get to it.
And we
I
get
hope.
we and I'll say that because I think of like the the verb Randy, right? As popularized by Austin Powers.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's foreshadowing. You know
I
what I
could
mean?
see that. Just because we're here, is your legal name Ricky?
Yeah. How old are you?
I was just thinking, like, is that short for Richard or?
No, it's Ricky.
Okay, weird choice, but
It
cool.
wasn't mine to make, you know.
Fair enough.
Also, to be fair, it wasn't even our parents to make because technically our dad's name is also just Ricky,
Oh yeah.
and I'm just named after him.
Yep.
So if you want to blame someone for a weird choice, you got to blame our grandparents.
Fair enough.
Half rip in peace. All right. So Randy, we'll go back to him. He had a few. I guess. I mean, I will say he had a pretty normal childhood, and he had
Okay.
some issues with his sisters. But I do want to be clear that like the issues were not. They didn't make any sense, right? Like he had problems, but he shouldn't have had problems. Does that make sense?
Okay. Like they were maybe pestering him, but he was like lighting fires
No,
to.
okay. So they were never mean to him. They were always really nice to him.
Okay.
But for whatever reason, he thought that because he was a boy, he should be able to do anything they could do. So his sisters
Mm,
are both at least 5 years older than him, And he's
Yeah.
like, no, I should just be allowed to do everything they can do. I'm 7, but
Right.
I should be able to go do all this stuff. And it was like,
Go on a date or something.
yeah, he just thought like, I'm a boy, I can do whatever I want.
That is a little crazy. But these are the 50s, so maybe he had a point. I don't know, but
Okay. Fair,
I'm
fair.
joking.
I'm joking. I'm joking. All right. In some ways, that desire to grow up faster can kind of explain his weird behavior,
Okay.
which began to manifest when he was in middle school.
Okay.
So I know I've already given one trigger warning, but I want to say here that what I'm about to tell you is going to be deeply unsettling.
Can I guess?
Dave has been locked in. Oh yeah, sure, go ahead.
Killing animals.
Great guess, but we'll see.
All right.
Dave has been locked in this room with me, not really, but metaphorically. But if you don't want to hear about all kinds of crimes, some of which are basically the worst you can commit, this is your moment to turn off the podcast.
Oh my gosh.
We'll be
Okay.
we'll be back in a few weeks with something lighter, but this one is going to be a doozy.
Maybe I do an exit.
Just let me do it by
It's
myself.
getting gnarly.
React to my own stuff.
Okay. All
It's
right.
not going to get too gnarly for a while, but it's gonna take a turn for sure.
Okay.
So when he was in junior high, as I mentioned, Randy started to act out. Um, so if what happens to him later didn't happen, you honestly might be able to excuse this as like a 13-year-old boy trying to push boundaries against his perfectionist mother and somewhat
Okay.
overbearing father. Now, don't get it twisted. He still committed actual crimes as a
Okay.
youth,
Yeah.
but it's the kind of stuff that like you can understand why somebody might let it slide.
Okay.
Okay. Uh, so, and it's also important to say that like if you had done this, and I'm not saying we're just using you as an example. If you had done this, you probably would have it would have just you would have gotten past it, right? Like it would have happened, and people have been like, "Oh, that Dave, he's a jokester, he's a
Okay.
little troublemaker." But because you have like a relatively normal life, it would have been we would have forgotten about it, right?
Right.
It
Right.
would have
Right.
been something you told like at family reunions, been like, "Remember that time Dave did
Yeah.
this?" And
But
everybody would
as
be
the
like,
first step of this guy's story, or first chapter of this guy's story, it's like telling a story versus
"Yeah." But the reason
because
I go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the reason I say that is because, as I mentioned, there's nothing about Randy's upbringing that would suggest that he would go on to become one of the
Right.
worst criminals in American history,
Okay. Okay.
right? So he should have he any other kid in this situation would have done what he does when he's in middle school. Would have been like, oh, you can't do that, and then it would have been over, right? Not for
Okay.
this guy. So like when you talk about guys like Jeffrey Dahmer or the BTK killer, you can
Oh my
always point
gosh.
to like inciting incidents of what happened,
Okay.
what kind of like turned them around. You could be like, oh, this guy was dropped on his head, he had head trauma. Oh,
Yeah.
this guy was molested by his mom. Oh, but blah blah blah. There's
Yeah.
reasons, right? I'm not saying they're excuses.
Yeah. Not their fault is what you're saying.
I know I'm saying it's definitely their fault. I'm just saying like you can be like, oh, this kind of
Sure.
is
For sure.
you could see why it happened.
Yeah.
That doesn't apply to Randy. Those things never. And you also notice I'm going to call him Randy the whole time. It's because he hates it. So if he
Good.
ever listens
Yeah.
to this, I just want him to know he
You suck,
sucks.
Randy. Sorry. I don't know.
He super does.
I think you probably do, but I don't know yet.
So the rules don't apply to Randy unless, of course, you count having a loving family and an incredible head of hair as reasons to commit some of the
Ooh.
most unspeakable acts we've seen in modern
Okay.
history.
Okay. Yeah.
So so I'm getting a bit ahead of myself because, as I said, Randy's illegal activities started when he was 13. He was caught peeping in classmates' windows and exposing
Oof.
himself at school. So again, very problematic,
Yeah.
but you can be like, "Hey, you're 13, we don't do that." Put him in therapy and he becomes a normal kid, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So they're not cool, but you're not going to send someone to jail most likely for doing that in
Yeah.
middle school, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying we've all been there, but people have been there and been fine,
Gotten
upstanding
off of the
adults.
warning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem is that Randy just kept doing it.
Okay.
So in high school, he was on a bridge with a group of teen girls and he pulled down his pants to show him what he was working with. And that was literally how it was written in the newspaper. That's not
Okay.
me editorializing it. And that was when Randy was first arrested. It could have ended there and it should have ended there.
You'd think if you get arrested, you think, okay, maybe change my behavior.
Right. So if Randy had felt some actual repercussions for his earlier crimes, what happened later maybe wouldn't have taken place. Unfortunately, Randy could catch an oblong ball very well. So
Oh,
his
okay.
high school coaches helped him conceal the incident so he could stay on the field. His
Yeah.
parents did force him to go to therapy, but really were like, "Oh, he's a boy. He'll get over it. It's fine."
Yeah.
So
Football, as most people know, football cures a lot of the like critical lens that
uh-huh.
people apply.
Yes,
Um,
for sure.
the NFL is like, even today there's so many players playing that you're like I'll be like, oh, I'm glad this guy's on my fantasy team, and then someone
Mm,
else will say, oh, like when he pushed his girlfriend down a set of
mm,
stairs, and I'm
yeah.
like, I had no idea. He's been playing for 10 years and
Yeah.
didn't even know that
Oh,
happened.
oh, so I see you drafted Tyreek Hill last year.
Yeah, I honestly, when he was on the Chiefs, I was like, oh, he's fast, he's fun, and then someone told me, and I was like,
So I guarantee you that was me because it happened when he was at Oklahoma State.
oh,
So
really?
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry.
So like a lot of young athletes, Randy's high school exploits were essentially swept under the rug. And again, I have to stress this, and I don't.
Brutal.
This is going to be pretty crude, but I don't want to. Just like let's be honest, right?
Okay.
The guy is 6'1". He's carved out of granite. He had a quintessential '70s perm, great hair, and he grew out what can only be described as a porn mustache.
Hmm.
To put it simply, the guy was not hurting in the lady department. It wasn't like he was some awkward teenager that couldn't get a date. This guy could not date whoever he wanted, but like he
Yeah.
had
All
girlfriends.
American quarterback.
Yes. No, not a quarterback, wide receiver, but yes.
Sorry.
Right. Like it was not like me in high school. This guy was not having problems. Okay.
Okay. Oh,
So
brother.
he ended up going to Portland State for college in 1970. And a few of his teammates described him as one of the most vain or one of the most vain people
People. People.
that
Most vain people.
they'd ever met. So running back Charles Stoudemire, who interestingly is NBA Rookie of the Year winner Damon Stoudemire's uncle, was
Oh,
quoted
okay.
as saying Randy was always grooming himself. That even carried over to the way he played. He seemed more interested in looking cute than out there than getting the job done.
Okay. If you have a helmet, I'm not sure how you can focus on looking cute.
Well, just like, like you have like, you know, I don't know.
When you take your helmet off and just like
I just think
brushing your
like
hair.
I think it's more about like how you play. That you're
Okay.
not like getting into the scrum. You're like,
Like he's
oh,
doing the Heisman pose every time because he's trying to.
sure.
I get what
I
you're
think
saying.
I think it more means as I'm about to tell you, and I guess we could skip over it, but it's more like he didn't want to go across the middle. He just wanted to
Yeah.
catch routes on the outside and then score touchdowns.
Yeah.
As I put it here, he preferred to keep his jersey clean for post game pictures.
Okay. Yeah.
So he's skilled as a route runner, but everyone pretty and he was very fast. That was like he even ran track at Portland State too. He was very fast. He had pretty good hands, but they were noted as being small, kind of like someone else that. Never mind. Uh, sorry, I have things on the mind from last night's events. Okay, but he did not want to go across the middle. Right, he just didn't want
Okay.
to take a hit. He wanted to, everyone knew Randy could do pretty much everything, but he could not take a hit. He was also known on campus for his involvement with the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. And it's not actually 100% clear if he was a believer, uh, with one teammate saying it seemed real important to him that he come across as someone who would do the right thing,
Okay.
almost like it was what was keeping him together. So some would say it might be kind of like an act or a way to keep himself on the straight and narrow after his early struggles, but to a lot of people, it seemed like a superficial thing that he was going to
Okay.
these events.
Yeah.
So after wrapping up his college career, Randy was hopeful that he'd make an NFL roster. Now, in modern times, maybe an NFL team would notice some of the signs around him that might make him a bad draft pick.
Okay.
After all, his criminal record didn't end when he left high school. So his record,
Oh
after he
boy.
leaves, he turns 18, his record is expunged, right? That's no
Okay.
longer on his record. But before joining Portland State, Randy spent a year at Treasure Valley Community College.
Okay.
There, he was arrested for
Oh,
allegedly ransacking an ex-girlfriend's home.
okay.
Now, there was a lack of evidence, so he's found not guilty at trial, so that's fair. But then at Penn State, he was arrested several more times for,
Several.
you guessed it, indecent exposure.
What's up with that?
Now, this is where it gets absolutely wild because he was, I mean, we're going to get even more wild, but this is where it starts to get wild.
Okay.
He was convicted twice, but
Okay.
somehow his coaches at Portland State didn't know about it.
Oh,
That's the
okay.
70s for you. You could get arrested for pulling out your
Yeah.
wiener
Yeah.
and your
Just
coaches
show
won't
on
know.
up. What were you up to this weekend? Oh, just out of town.
Hanging dong. I mean, hanging out with my friends.
Yeah, that's nuts. Literally.
Uh-huh.
Sorry.
Wow, what a good one. Wow, that was your best one
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah.
So when the Green Bay Packers came to do a check-in on the young man, his coaches just spoke his praises. They said he didn't like to be hit, but there wasn't anything really wrong with him. Randy,
I would think in a community like that, it's like they would recognize the player and like definitely reach out to the school. I don't know.
not in the 70s. Scouting was not, I mean, it happened, but
Yeah.
it was,
Fair
especially, I
enough. Fair
mean,
enough.
he's not going to be, as we'll see in a second, it's not like he's a top draft pick, right? Like he's going to be,
Okay. Yeah.
he's relatively late. So they're maybe not doing as much diligence as they would do if it was like a first round guy, right?
Yeah.
So Randy had actually dropped out of college, 3 semesters short of graduating.
Okay.
And he was working at a restaurant called Burger Chef when the
Okay.
Packers picked him in the 17th round of the 1974 draft.
Just on the table somewhere. One of
So
those Hail Marys.
back in the day when I think there was 20 rounds back then. It's
Dude, you
wild.
got to be so jazzed to be at the Burger Shack and you get like a call,
It's like, hey,
Like you're going to the
hey,
NFL. It's
hey,
like,
Randy, you're joining the Packers.
yeah.
So he signed his deal almost instantly, which most people in the 70s would jump at the chance to sign a $16,000 deal laden with incentives. So he would have made an extra 3 grand if he caught 30 passes that year.
Okay.
Uh, there were like several stipulations, like he had to wear a coat and necktie while in public. He like couldn't gain so much weight. There was a lot of stuff he had to do, but like again, like at the chance to make 20 grand a year to play football, anybody
Yeah.
would say yes to that, right? Especially if you're working at Burger Chef. No
Yeah.
offense to fast food workers, you guys do a great job. I'm just
Love
saying.
Burger Chef.
I'm just saying it
Yeah.
is a big difference.
Yeah.
So that April, Randy attended Green Bay's minicamp, which I learned while making this that the Packers invented the idea of a minicamp,
Interesting.
which is fun.
Okay.
He played relatively well and was sent a first class ticket to the June training camp. And after that camp, he was given the following assessment: timed at 4.7 in the 40, cuts on a dime, has good hands, and catches well in a crowd, which is surprising to see. Fluid and smooth, hustles, good jumper. He was also affable with the local media during a July rookie scrimmage against the Bears. However, Randy was ultimately cut from the team in the middle of August.
Okay.
He claims that it
Affable
was.
with the media. I'm wondering how he didn't pull it out, Seems like every chance he gets, he's just going for it. But
I say that because it was just like he seemed like a good guy.
yeah,
People
no
were
one
like,
thought
"Oh, this
anything about
guy's
it.
he's an all-American guy. Not a he's cool. He's good looking. Blah blah blah." He claims it was because the Packers wanted to focus on the ground game, but the Green Bay police saw otherwise.
Oh boy. Okay.
One law enforcement officer said Randy couldn't keep the thing in his pants. That's a direct quote.
All right.
So still had a problem with whipping out his dong.
That's nuts.
Now, there's nothing official in his arrest records, but while he was in Wisconsin, he was involved in at least 10 cases of indecent exposure.
What I don't know if we'll get to this, but I'm just like, what is manifesting this behavior of maybe just ask permission or like try to be somewhere that's private, you
I
know?
think I don't really get into it because I don't think he's like really given interviews. I think a lot of people believe that it's a power thing,
Okay.
that he like wants to be so in control and he wants to just show that he can do whatever he wants because he's a boy,
Yeah. With
right?
the sisters and all that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you got away with it a couple times in high school, but I'm just saying after you go to jail a few times, it's like,
He hasn't been in jail yet.
oh, sorry. He in college, didn't he?
He got arrested, but I don't know if that meant like, I mean, maybe he like went to jail, but I don't think he did jail time. Like, I don't think he was
See. Okay.
right.
Which, yeah, if I mean, if no one's really like slapping you on the wrist good enough,
Hmm.
he's just gonna keep going. Somebody needs
Oh,
to lock him up for sure.
well, we'll see. Okay, so Randy didn't leave for Oregon. He didn't go back home after he was cut. He actually stuck around and played in the semi-pro league for, and I'm going to mispronounce this. I apologize to our Wisconsin fans, but he stuck around and played for the Manitowoc Chiefs
Okay.
and worked as
Sounds
a
like a fun name.
yeah, he worked as a press break operator on the side. Well, I guess football was on the side, right? But you get my point.
Yeah.
Right? So,
Yeah.
so Randy hoped that the Packers would notice him playing well and bring him back into the fold. However, he, as mentioned, couldn't keep the thing in his pants, and the Chiefs released him after a season there. Now, at that point, obviously, like as we've established, this guy thought that he was like God's gift to the earth.
Yeah.
And so he was devastated by being cut. He thought like deserve to play in the NFL. I'm so good. Look at how good looking I am. Look at how jacked I am. Look at blah 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 all this stuff. So he decided he was going to head back home. He
Is
tuck his tail between his legs a little bit and go back to Oregon.
okay.
There weren't any calls from pro teams, and he had no real pro prospects. So when he got back to Oregon, remember, he's only 3 semesters short of graduating. So his family was like, "Hey, you should just go back to school,
Yeah.
right?
No
You
problem.
almost have your physical education degree. You could do that, and you could have a real career." And he said, "No, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going
Okay.
to work some odd jobs. I'm going to move around all the time. I'm going to never stay in a relationship for more than a few weeks." And in early 1975, police in Portland were stumped. There was a series of attacks on women carried out by a man described as athletic and handsome, but also armed with a knife.
Okay.
The guy would demand oral sex from the women he was assaulting and then steal their purses before running off.
Oh my gosh.
So the police department decided they were going to catch the criminal in a trap. They stationed several undercover female police officers in local parks, and eventually one of them was attacked by the man. Soon after, police found Randy Woodfield in possession of marked money from the sting operation, and he was charged with robbery and sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Great. Love this.
At that point, Randy was interviewed at length by the police, and he claimed to have a deep Christian faith and refused to ever partake in drugs or alcohol. As he told it, his only vice was steroids to help keep his physique in tip top shape.
Hmm.
He suggests this is what he said. He claims that the reason that he was forcing women at knife point to perform oral sex on him was because the steroid use was affecting his sex drive, which led to the crimes.
But it's not a great alibi, I think.
It's not what?
It's not a great alibi. Like that's
It's not,
not
it's not a great excuse.
so yeah,
I'm taking
either way.
steroids, so I'm so sexed up I have to go commit crimes on women to
Yeah.
handle it.
Yeah, the stealing the money, like if you were, I guess, I don't know. It's just it doesn't track for me.
I guess when you're already there, you're like, oh, I've already committed a crime. I might as well as get some more out of this.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying that was like a thing or not like an excuse, but I am like, there's like when you're already committing a crime, you might as well just keep going, right? Like
Mm.
you might as well just keep doing the crimes.
This is like what we talked about. You should just be able to like pay to get rid of your crimes, you know?
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just saying like if I already know that I'm going to jail,
Mm.
right? Like I'm just going to keep having a good time. Now I'm not going to hold people but I might be like, "Oh, I'm going to steal a Lamborghini."
Right, okay.
Right? Like I'm going to do different stuff than what this guy did, but if I'm
Yeah.
already going to jail, I might as well just have fun.
Yeah,
But
different
I'm saying like good fun, not like killing people fun.
different amounts of theft have different penalties. So I guess you could do the math ahead of time and be like, well, if I'm going to steal 100, I might
If
as well
someone
steal
look,
700.
if someone is doing that kind of math, hopefully they're not committing those crimes.
I'm saying before they do it, you know.
But I'm saying I don't think a person who maybe there's a lot of forethought. I don't know. I've
I
never
don't.
been a criminal.
Yeah.
Well, I've never been caught as a criminal.
Hey, got him.
Okay, so Randy only did 4 years in prison. He then got out
Okay.
on probation, and he
That's
was so beloved by his old football pals. This is
I
wild.
hate everything about this story. I It just keeps getting worse. I can't stand it.
They threw a party to celebrate his release from prison.
Yeah. I don't know why I'd spoke before you got there. Okay.
Uh, so he was 2.5 hours late to his own party. But even more wild than that to me is, as you probably are guessing what I'm about to say, he literally threatened women at knife point to perform oral sex, and they were still like, "Glad you're out, buddy." I know we hate women. I know we as Americans hate women, especially the 70s, but wow.
Yeah. It's also like he probably did it at the party, you know? He probably was like, "Where's the nearest knife? I gotta go threat somebody." Are there women here? This is stupid. It
I
makes
hope
me
not.
so angry.
I really hope not.
The justice system in America. Okay.
Okay, so he got out just in time to celebrate his 10-year high school reunion.
Okay.
Now, I didn't go to mine. I
I
don't know
did
if you
not
went
go
to
to mine.
yours,
Sorry.
but I did see some pictures. And I feel like Randy would fit right in with the typical high school reunion crowd.
Okay.
The guy had obviously peaked at like 23 years old
Okay.
and reportedly spent the entire event literally flexing and
Hmm.
bragging about his time playing with the Packers.
That's what if I did go, that's what I would do.
You would brag about your time playing with the
And people would
Packers?
say, "You play with the Packers?" And I would just say yes.
I
I was the
think
punter.
I feel like nowadays they could easily check that. Whereas like
No.
in 1979, maybe you could get away with it.
I was
But I do
on
want
punt team, so you couldn't find me. I didn't play much, but
well, I
I
do
was
want to point
there.
out he literally did not play with for the Packers. He was in
Well,
training camp.
so I could get away with it too.
He was in training camp and was cut for essentially being too weird.
I could see. I could tell my friends the same thing. I think they might believe me.
Maybe. And Randy did not stop being weird. After getting out, he jumped from one bartending gig to the next and was dumped almost constantly, but nothing could shake this man's self confidence. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what happened to him in love. It didn't matter what happened to him in his professional life.
Yeah,
He always thought he was the coolest dude in the world.
high school baby.
He spent most of his time cruising around in his solid gold, not, I guess I shouldn't say solid gold. That implies it was made out of gold, just gold, 1974 Champagne Edition
Ooh,
Volkswagen Beetle,
heck yeah!
and sending naked photos of himself to women.
Of course.
Now, I
Why
want
not?
everyone to remember this is
I was
1979.
gonna say,
He was not
I'm.
sending selfies through his iPhone.
Yeah, he's grabbing those Polaroids,
I
baby.
So that's literally what I wrote. I said, I don't really know how it worked, but I assume he was snapping Polaroids of his oiled up bod, making photocopies at whatever the equivalent was to Kinko's, and then dropping them off of mailboxes that he found while scrolling through the phone book. Maybe a roller rink was involved. I don't fucking know. But either way, what does that mean? What does he mean sending naked photos of himself to women in 1979? I didn't know there was the equivalent of dick pics in the late 70s.
Could you imagine paying for stamps to snail mail? Like
Mail a picture of your penis. No, I
he
could
goes
not.
to the UPS. He's like, or USPS. Can I get stamps? And they're like, "How many do you need?" He's like, pulls out the phone book. He's like counting the amount of women in the. It's like,
It's
how
just
much is
like
it going to be for
it's
7,000?
so wild. Like what was he doing? How I don't understand.
Also, were they people he met?
I
Were
don't
they people
know.
he saw? Maybe he had like a binder at the beach, and he was just like, "I see a pretty lady. I give her
Here
a
you go.
envelope,
Hey,
and
ma'am, excuse me. Here, this is from
maybe
me.
she'll run off and think about me and call the
Oh,
number."
I don't understand this. So to his credit, Randy was really hot. I hate to say that, but it's true. You can
Okay,
look up photos. He was good looking.
okay.
And
I can't wait
1979,
after this.
in 1979, he even sent one of his trademark nudie shots to Playgirl for consideration.
Oh, okay. And they did they turn him down?
Relatively soon after, he received a letter congratulating him as a person who was selected for possible publication in Playgirl's Guy Next Door feature.
Okay.
Unfortunately, while waiting for what I assume he thought was his big break, things started to spiral for Randy.
Hmm. You would think. Sorry, I know
Mhm.
he's not an aware person, but you would think if you get rejected
Yeah,
or put on the possibles that you're
it
like,
was
okay,
waitlisted for Playgirl.
maybe I should do some reflection here and like see if this is I'm as good as I think I am.
Yeah. Okay. Um.
I'm
Okay.
sure that's how it went. Yeah.
Again. Trigger warning for everything you could imagine.
Okay.
And also, the jokes probably end here, unfortunately, fellas.
Yeah.
On October 11th, 1980, a 29-year-old woman named Sherry Ayers was found raped, stabbed, and bludgeoned to death in her Portland apartment. According to reports, she died from blunt force trauma and a knife wound to her neck. Interestingly to cops, many former classmates at Newport High said that Ayers and Randy Woodfield had reconnected at their high school reunion and were seen together several times after.
Disgusting.
In fact, the two had known each other since the second grade, and Ayers had sent Randy letters while in prison. So, of course, he was brought in on questioning, and while police noted that his answers were evasive and deceptive, and he also refused to take a polygraph test, the blood and semen found at the scene did not match up. And at that point, there was no DNA testing, so Randy was just let go. So they
Oh
had
my
him.
Lord.
They had him
Okay.
after one really
After a
really
while,
bad
yeah.
thing. They had him, but
Okay.
they couldn't place him. 7 weeks later, on Thanksgiving, Darcy
Uh-huh.
Fix and Doug Altig were shot to death execution style with a 38 revolver in Fix's home. Randy was again connected to the murder. One of his good friends from college had dated Fix, so he was brought in for questioning. However, there was no concrete evidence, so the police let him walk.
What? Okay.
On December 9th, 1980, just a few weeks later, a bearded man walked into a gas station in Vancouver, Washington. The people working there noted that the beard was very obviously fake, but then he pulled out a gun to rob the store and things got serious. Fortunately, no one was killed or assaulted, but this robbery was along the I-5 interstate route was essentially the killer marking his territory. The I-5 killer had found his stomping grounds. So, if anybody knows the I-5 killer, that is the guy we're talking about today.
Okay. Just all of Interstate 5. He only
Uh,
killed
it,
on
yeah,
Interstate 5.
yes, yes. Most of his kills happened along Interstate 5. So 4 nights later, that same man still wearing a fake beard, but this time, this is so crazy, sporting a band-aid over his nose, which would become his trademark look,
Okay.
like he's Nelly or something. I mean,
I mean,
Nelly
if
was
it's
over his
working, I
cheek.
guess. I don't know.
I don't know if it was. I guess it was like to conceal his identity,
Yeah.
but also maybe like
Harder
mark
harder
him
to
as
pin down.
like a football player. You know, like they used to wear like band-aids over their nose, like, oh, I'm a football player. Hey
He
guys.
has he has John 3:16 written on it. I'm sorry.
Definitely what he would do. He had a deep Christian faith. Don't forget about that.
That's fair. Yeah.
He raided an ice cream parlor in Eugene. The next night, he knocked off a drive-in in Albany, Oregon, and a week later, the Band-Aid man went into a Seattle restaurant, and there he found a 25-year-old waitress in the bathroom and forced her at gunpoint to jerk him off.
God almighty.
By that point, the police had officially started calling him the I-5 Bandit. On January 8th, 1981, the man went back to the same Vancouver gas station he'd previously held up. However, and unfortunately, this time he had something a little bit more disgusting on his mind. The guy forced one of the female attendants to empty the register and then pointed the gun at her until she exposed herself. 3 days later, he robbed a market in Eugene, and on January 12th, he shot and wounded a 20-year-old grocery store clerk in Sutherland. The crimes began picking up speed, but had mostly been related to robbery by that point, outside of the one person he shot, of course.
Okay.
Unfortunately, things took a darker turn just 2 days later. On January 14th, a man matching the I-5 bandit's description invaded the home of two sisters. And before you think these were like two 20-year-old siblings trying to make ends meet by working together, the sisters were aged 8 and 10.
What the hell? I thought you were gonna say his sisters.
No, no, that would be real bad. Yeah. I mean, this is also
Um,
bad, but the man ordered them to undress and forced the older sister to perform oral sex on him. Again, if you're still here and value your sanity, consider dropping out of this one. I promise the next episode will not be as dark.
Can we, I wish you would have said that. Okay. Yep.
Sorry.
We keep going?
Oh yeah, we keep going. We're not done.
Ah.
We're not done. We're not done.
Okay.
And also I should point out, I don't think I ever mentioned this. There is potentially, and I'm not, again, this is not to like be nice to Randy because I definitely don't want to do that. But there is some potential where some of these acts were like copycat people, right? Like
Hmm.
his description was out there, so maybe some people got out there and did some of the crimes. But again, all the stuff we're talking about is like mostly been attributed to him,
Yeah.
but still. So unfortunately, we're just getting started. It's not
Well,
funny. Obviously,
maybe
what's it's not funny what's what I'm describing. It is funny watching you react though.
it is funny. It's not, sorry, funny is not the word. It is ironic or something that you didn't just like send me a warning. Like, I for all those listening, and you keep getting these repeated warnings. I didn't know what I was logging on for today. I thought we were talking about the freaking NBA playoffs, and I just get to sit here and
We
listen
could
to
talk.
this.
We could talk about them at the end if you want.
I need to talk about something else.
Okay. 4 days later, the I-5 bandit went into a Salem office building and sexually assaulted two women, Sherry Hull and Beth Wilmot. Afterward, he killed Hull and shot Wilmot and left her for dead. Thankfully, she survived. The I-5 killer then took something of a break, doing just a few robberies on January 29th and 26th. I don't know why I said it in that order, because that's not the order.
Okay.
However, it wasn't very long before he escalated once again. Now, I don't think you don't seem like the kind of person who does a lot of like reading or listening to true crime stuff.
I still can't read actually. English?
Yeah.
No.
You only read,
I've never been a big like even the documentaries.
yeah,
I'll if if someone else is recommending or
yeah.
whatever, I'll watch it. But I have never sought that stuff out. I try to stay away from it.
So it is, as someone who does listen to a lot of those, it is kind of interesting because, not, I mean, interesting in like I don't know, like the scientific part of it, but there's a lot of times you have like what's called like a ramp up period and you have like a cool down period.
Okay.
And that like very limitedly happened here. Like not really, right? Like usually a
Okay.
cooldown period is like several months, right? Like they'll kill
Hmm.
somebody and they'll take a break, and they have to like ramp themselves back up because they don't like a lot of the people, not all, but some of them like don't really like killing. They're like product killers, like they kill for a reason because they like want
Okay.
something. Now, I'm not saying a good reason. I'm just saying like,
Right. In
um,
their minds, it's some weird twisted justification.
yeah. But Randy's is like one of the wildest, just like sprees, right? Like he
Okay.
doesn't really stop, right? I
Yeah.
said a break, but the break is like I'm gonna do lesser crimes. It's not like I'm not committing
We've
crimes.
also already got to so many.
Oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
Like
So
how's this guy not caught? I don't
because
like it.
it, I mean, yeah,
I know it's always it was always in the 70s.
I mean, this is the
They
'80s
just didn't give
technically.
a shit back then.
I just think it was easier to disappear, right? It was way easier to just like get out of there and no one know, right? There's no phones, there's no way to track somebody. It's just much easier. So on February 3rd, 1981, police found the bodies of Donna Eckerd and her 14-year-old daughter in a bed in their home in Mountain Gate, California. Both victims had been shot in the head several times, and lab tests later revealed that they had both been sodomized. Earlier that day, an 18-year-old waitress was kidnapped and raped after a holdup 15 miles south in Redding, and a similar crime was committed the next day at a motel in Ashland, Oregon. Then, on February 9th, a man matching the I-5 killer's description held up a fabric store, tying up and molesting a worker and customer before leaving. 3 days later, a man matching the description committed robberies in several towns in Washington, with a few of them including instances of assault. Finally, on Valentine's Day, 1981, Randy had planned a party at Portland's downtown Marriott. Now, this is a little bit of we're going to start the good side here because he invited all of his friends from college, and literally no one showed up.
Good. God, what a sicko.
Uh, Unfortunately, that made Randy really, really mad. So he
Oh,
drove to
okay.
Beaverton, where an 18-year-old girl that he'd met while working as a bouncer lived. When she tried to come into his bar, Randy had overlooked her fake ID and let her into the bar. Real classy by Randy. He arrived at Julie Retz's home at around 2 a.m. on February 15th. 2 hours later, he raped her and then shot her in the head, killing her instantly. Police arrived on the scene and determined that Retz had had a glass of wine with her killer and had even started to prepare coffee before the attack, seemingly expecting nothing. So he just went there, hung out with her for a while, was like, presumably having a, like she had no idea what was about to happen.
Yeah.
He just did it. So, fortunately, by that point, police had a bead on Randy. After all, the descriptions of the attack were always the same: an athletic white man with a fake beard and a band aid on his nose. Usually, he was armed with a silver 32 revolver, and plus, he'd already been to prison for being a predator and knew most of the women that he'd attacked. Not most, but several of the women he attacked.
Yeah.
Oh, and the police put together a phone call log for payphones that indicated Randy had made multiple calls within a few miles of all the murders.
Hmm.
Some people might point out the irony in the son of a Pacific Bell executive being undone by phone records, but I don't know if Randy is smart enough to understand the concept of irony.
That's right.
Police brought him in on March 5th, 1981. One of his victims, Lisa Garcia, picked Randy out of a police lineup, and he was brought in for further questioning. Police obtained a warrant and searched his residence. Randy was living with an unsuspecting family, and they found telling evidence. They included the same tape used to bind all of his victims and a 32 bullet in his racquetball bag. A few days later, he was indicted on several charges for murder, rape, sodomy, attempted kidnapping, armed robbery, and illegal possession of firearms. That June, he went to trial for the murder of Hull. I wrote this really poorly. That yeah, that June he went to trial for the murder of Hull. In a weird twist of fate that only adds to the this is not twist of fate, it's probably not the right word, but in a weird thing that adds to the saga's strangeness, Chris Van Dyke, the son of legendary actor Dick Van Dyke, prosecuted the case.
Okay. Weird.
He presented evidence that tied Randy to the murder, including matching hair, bullets, and eyewitness testimony. Van Dyke later called Randy the coldest, most detached defendant I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Essentially, Randy believed that he had done nothing wrong and everyone owed him the world. Fortunately, Randy was sentenced to life in prison plus 90 years after being convicted on all accounts, which is, I love when they do that. I don't know why they do that.
I think it's had got to be like there's some legal precedent from
Yeah.
back in the day that you have
Yeah.
to get at least this amount of years or whatever. But
Yeah.
yeah, or they'll
Uh,
be like 4 life sentences. I'm like, are we going by average expected lifespan
I don't,
or what's?
it's really weird. So he was later convicted on even more charges, adding 35 years to his life sentence. And then at that point, the state of Oregon was like, okay, this guy's already been put away for like multiple lives, so we're just going to not pursue any more charges, despite him being linked to several more cases
Yeah,
because we can't afford it. They just couldn't afford more trials.
golly.
So they just decided to let them hang because he was already doing life in prison. So the case technically doesn't end there, right? He was injured during a prison disturbance in 1983 and then sued Anne Rule, who wrote a book on his killings in 1984 for $12 million.
He
Claimed,
sued her.
yeah,
You can sue people when you're in prison.
she said he claimed that she had committed libel,
Okay,
but it
I
was,
guess like everyone has rights,
yeah, the lawsuit was almost immediately dismissed. So,
quote unquote. Yeah.
and then in 1990, even more victims were discovered, potentially connecting Randy to as many as 44 homicides.
God Almighty. Okay.
DNA testing would later confirm two more murders, and he has never shown any remorse for his killings and other crimes. That said, people do love themselves a hottie, and since being
No.
imprisoned, Randy has been
No.
married 3 times and divorced twice. Even,
Okay.
even as a convicted killer, he remained an ultimate ladies' man. We don't know exactly how many people he killed, but it's likely over 10 and up to 46. He also still loves football. In 2006, he joined MySpace, and that's where he came the closest to ever taking responsibility, posting, quote, I spend the remainder of my days in prison because I committed a murder, along with many other crimes. I once tried out for the Green Bay Packers. The only reason I didn't make it is because the skills I had to offer, they didn't need at the time. Simply put, Randy Woodfield is an asshole through and through. As of this writing, he remains in prison in Salem, Oregon. He is 75 years old, and I hate to say it, but the mustache is still rocking.
It's disgusting. It's maybe the worst thing I've ever heard in my entire life. And if we're gonna keep doing these every year, I'm gonna have to
Gotta
get my
prepare
game
yourself.
face on, I guess. Yeah.
You gotta prepare yourself.
So sorry.
They won't ever be this bad. This is the worst one by far. This is maybe the worst one in sports.
Yeah, I would hope so.
There's another podcast, probably I would say probably a better podcast to be honest with you. But I think I told you this. They did like 8 parts on this, and each
Hmm.
episode's like 2 hours. Now I think I didn't really listen to it, but I've listened to them talk before, and they are very rambly.
Hmm.
So I think maybe it's a lot of them just
Is it a serial killers podcast? Like
it's
they
called
talk about?
it's literally called Crime and Sports. So yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And they also do another podcast called Small Town Murder. I don't listen to any of their stuff, but when I started doing these, I started finding them, and I'm like, I can't listen to their stuff because it's probably really good. I've listened to one, and I was like, this isn't for me, but it was their very first episode, so I'm assuming they get much better because that's just what happens with the podcast. You just get
Yeah.
better. Anyways, but I was like, I can't listen to their stuff because I don't want it to like taint my research. And
Hmm.
again, they probably do a way better job because it's their full time job. Like
Yeah.
I just do this for fun. But yeah,
Shouts out to those people.
shouts out to Crime and Sports. You guys probably killing it. I just don't know. So sources for this one were mostly Sports Illustrated. There's a really big write up there, and then the New York Daily News, the Oregonian, and the Green Bay Press Gazette were the main sources I used. So yeah, we won't be doing anything too gruesome next week
Let's get back
or
to
next 2 weeks,
basketball.
but we'll definitely be getting back to basketball. Speaking of basketball, I know you're feeling good about these playoffs.
Yeah, I no, I'm not sure. I was just gonna ask you just one quick question, not
Mm.
important, no big deal. What was the finals pick you had? I
Oh,
can't
Nuggets
remember.
over Pistons. Not a
Oh,
good
that's
pick.
so
Not a good pick.
weird because
It's
they're both down in their series.
it's not a good pick, but I will say preseason I picked the Magic,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah,
and
they're the
if
team that are
if
beating the
if
Pistons.
I had known the Magic were going to be back to full strength and playing as like the
Yeah.
Pistons definitely have a ceiling on them, and the only reason I picked them is I don't trust Boston because I think like Jason Tatum is just coming back, and
Yep.
also I don't really like any other player on that team besides him and Jalen Brown. Now they're very
Okay.
good players, right? But I think like with a team that has so much that could just like, I mean, I said on social media the other day, I was like, basketball is better when Detroit is trying to murder people. Like they're not actually playing basketball, right? So that like
Yeah.
it's because they're I won't say the word thugs, but you know what I mean. Like
Physical.
they're very physical, right? And I
Yeah.
think that so many guys on Boston are just gonna wilt from that kind of stuff.
Mm.
But if I had known the Magic were going to be back to full strength, I would have picked the Magic. I do still have some faith that the Nuggets can pull it out now that
Yeah.
every single player on the Timberwolves is injured.
It's not great.
But also they're outside of Jokic and even really Jokic kind of they've all kind of fallen off a cliff. They just
I mean,
I
it's
don't know what
crazy.
happened, but they
Yeah,
just
Jamal
dropped off the
Murray does not exist anymore.
yeah. And so I mean like I'm again it was probably I mean I don't think it was necessarily a bad pick to pick the Nuggets, but I don't like like I think this obviously I think I picked the Nuggets with my heart. I think my head was I think I even maybe said something to that effect is like my head is with the Thunder, right?
Yeah.
They're the deepest team. They have the easiest route through the West.
Yeah.
They're going to face like LeBron next and
Yeah, it just keeps getting easier too. I mean, they lost J-Dub for a couple weeks, but
yeah, I will say if it and I don't think this is happening. If LeBron beats the Thunder, he is the greatest basketball player of all time.
he already is, but I would agree that that would be a very nice like feather in the cap.
If he beats the Thunder by himself, like if Luke, especially if Luca doesn't come back, because I don't think Reeves can come back. Like I think he's out for good, right? Or not, well, not forever, but isn't he out for like a month?
Uh I don't know. I
Oh,
thought they were I thought he was like week to week.
okay, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just saying if especially if Luca doesn't come back and he beats the Thunder, what that is, I mean,
Yeah.
he's never done anything more impressive because he's never had even when he was in maybe when he was with the Cavs, he had worse teams. I feel like he didn't though. This team is so
Yeah.
trash. Like Rui Hachimura is playing well. Like, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like Luke Kennard is their second best player.
I was today. I had the thought experiment because someone was talking about how like Luke Kennard's a problem, which like no one's ever said that until he's playing with LeBron. And
Yeah.
I was thinking, I wonder what is the higher total value, all the money that LeBron's made, so
Mm,
NBA contract, Nike contract, all the money he's made in his career, or the amount of money that guys have made by being his teammates. Because this happens in so many finals runs. Matthew
yeah.
Dellavedova,
Booby.
J.R. Smith, Tristan Thompson.
Don't forget Booby. You got to throw Booby in.
Go back to like all the early Cavs. Um, people thought Mario Chalmers was a problem. Like this guy has put
How
on
dare you?
so
The
many
disrespect for Rio. How dare you?
players that go out. Gabe Vincent, like they go out and they sign these $20 million a year
Mhm.
contracts, and then it's like, oh, actually, they are horrible at basketball. They just played with LeBron, and he's the best teammate of all time.
That's very helpful. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Best teammate of all time. That's an interesting. I guess he's definitely up there because he's not. He isn't like he could be like, oh, playing with like Westbrook would be great because he's
Yeah,
he likes to get people involved, but also he's kind of like a troll, right? Like,
he'll also like if he doesn't. I feel like his issue was if he doesn't like if you don't feel the same fire that he does,
mm,
he'll like shun you out. He'll be like, well, nah,
yeah,
like you got to work as hard as I do, and that's come on, don't be
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, yeah. I guess LeBron probably is like at least what that we have seen in our lifetimes is probably like the highest floor elevator because like he
Yeah,
can do so much stuff so well.
yeah.
I mean, he also is probably the highest ceiling. Well, I don't know, maybe not the highest ceiling. There's some guys.
It will be tough as a LeBron sexual. Um, I want the Thunder to win, and that's who I'm going to cheer for. But like, it would be so cool to have LeBron in the finals again. So
Yeah, no offense, 100% would be rooting for LeBron in that series. I always root for LeBron. Doesn't matter if LeBron's
yeah,
involved. I root for him. I just assume he's not going to make it. So you know what I mean?
what
Like,
what if it was a triple threat title match? LeBron, Wemby, and Jokic.
what do you mean? Oh,
Who
like
would you root for?
LeBron. I just
Okay.
assume when we do the stuff, I'm just like, oh, he's not going to make it because it's.
Hmm.
I always it's rooting does not equivalent. Sometimes I guess sometimes it does because I did pick the Nuggets over the Thunder, but that
Yeah.
was wishful thinking. But rooting interest does not
Equivalent.
equivalent to who I think is going to win.
Okay, I got you. Um,
I root for Oklahoma State all
I
the time, and they're going to lose every game. So
That's true. Would you root if it was Pistons Lakers in the finals?
this year,
Who are you rooting for?
ooh, that's actually tough. I'd probably root for LeBron
Okay.
because Kata's so long. Kata and
Yeah.
Jalen have a long careers, hopefully, ahead of them.
Yeah. They need somebody else. I mean,
Oh, for sure. They need shooting. They don't have any
I'm
shooting.
not saying Jalen can't be that guy, but if it's not like a lob from Cade, he doesn't seem to be able to do much of anything on offense this series.
Yeah,
It's
they need a shooter to stretch the floor more. Tobias Harris is not cutting it, which everyone knew that was going to happen. But
can't believe it.
I was hoping that the East is so weak. And again, I just don't trust. I mean, like the 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 Celtics have not looked that good against the 76ers for the most part, right? So
Yeah.
it's like they I
I
don't
mean, they
think they're
dropped a game and had no reason to do that.
yeah. So I don't know. I think that their hype got really overblown because people remember the Celtics from 2 years ago,
Yeah.
and they're not that team anymore. They don't have Drew anymore. They don't have one of the greatest lockdown perimeter defenders of this era.
I still like him a lot.
I do not.
We'll see.
Well, I mean, they'll probably make the finals at this rate. I mean, it's going to be them or the Magic, it seems like.
I'm feeling pretty good, baby.
All right. Well, we will go ahead and get out of here. As mentioned, I promise next week's episode will not be, or next episode, 2 weeks from now, will not be nearly as dark.
I'm gonna go take a shower.
Dave won't be mad at me next time. But we will see you all later. Goodbye.
Peace.